Okay. Um, so context for the web agency. This is Alex, CMO. She used to be a former client at Density and has tons of experience with PR agencies. So she should have some good insight here. So the first set of questions is really around the search and decision process. So, like, what other marketing or communication approaches did you consider instead of working with a PR agency? What made you decide that PR was the right direction?
Like, why do PR at all?
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. Uh,
Yeah, they want to know like psychology stuff behind the whole reason for this.
yeah, totally. So I think there is like real, maybe like judge by the context of density. Like density, there's a lot of like trust that needed to happen at the decision-making process for any buyer coming into density. So big enterprise clients, Amazon, Google, da 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 da, you know all the names. And really what's helpful in that is third-party validation on what you do and why it's important. So like we can shout from rooftops all day long, but when you hear it from another customer, or you hear it from a reputable source, a third-party source like media, that is like extremely helpful in the decision-making process. So like I think that's one reason. The other is the fundraising process. So also getting notoriety and having third-party validation in the press, I think does have like pretty significant impact on getting those like term sheets. Yeah, I think those are like maybe the two big reasons why we would even
Mhm.
pursue getting PR. But I thought there was
Mhm.
another part of your question, which was like, what else do we consider?
No, you got it. That's pretty
Okay,
much it.
great.
Okay. Um, okay. Walk me through how you usually would search for and choose a PR agency. What channels do you rely on? Online research, referrals, ads, something else?
Just referrals,
Hmm.
nowhere else.
Okay. Um, when you were selecting a PR agency, what ended up being the deciding factor for you and why? Did you look mostly at their industry experience, reputation, pricing, team, or was it something else to tip the scale?
Um, well, quality referral is one huge one, obviously. The other is that I think in my experience working in PR agencies, there's a lot of, especially bigger firms, you talk to someone that you just like fucking adore, and then you get handed off to like a 22-year-old person who is very kind, but very green. And so making sure that like the person that we were engaging with was the person we'd be working with on a regular basis. I think so. You often, or in my experience, like it's like smaller. If we're talking about agencies, like a smaller agency or like more boutique, like Salient. Um, I guess I would also say like just like experience in that industry or in that space. Like I work a lot in like a lot of my clients are actually in energy and it's like a really unique space, a lot of like deep trade knowledge. And so like I would like want to make sure like, and then I think like Salient, like we like a lot of the work that you had done before I worked with you was around like more tech, like higher,
Mhm.
just like more
Like
tech.
IoT stuff. Yeah.
Totally. So
Yeah.
that was like really helpful to just know like, okay, you know the same people we're talking about that we want to talk to. We know like what the beats are. You know what's worked before. Like your pitch will be way more effective
Mhm.
um, in the space that we want to be in.
Did you, when you were doing this process, either for density or for any of the other, when you were like researching and trying to find an agent, did you have a process where you were like taking notes? Did you have a spreadsheet where you were like filling in like a matrix of scores for people? Or like, how did you organize your decision making process?
I am like actually a very analytical person, but this is not one of those things that I would consider like an analytical process. I think like it's pretty, I think, well, this is like sounds a little bit like a humble brag, but I think like one of my qualities is that in like work is that I can like really sniff out bullshit. Like I feel like I have a really good track record of who I've hired, who I've worked with, and so for me it's like there's like an immediate kind of clarity around like if this is bullshit or not. And And then from there, like if I'm doing any sort of comparison, like you're probably down to like 2 or 3 candidates. Like it's not like there's 10 people we're deciding between, because most of them are bullshit. So you get to these 2 to 3 and it's like, does it fit in our budget? Are they doing the thing we want them to do? And like, how much do we like them? And that's pretty much it.
Yep. If you were to name just one quality that you were looking for above all others, what would it be?
Hustle.
Okay. If you were comparing 2 PR agencies side by side, let's say you got that same high quality referral from somebody, how would you make your decision? What criteria would matter most to you?
Well, budget is like kind of it either fits in the budget or it doesn't, right? Like that's a binary one. So it's like a non-starter. Assuming they both fit in the budget, then it would be, yeah, I think just like the experience of like, do they fit within our industry and have they put up the kind of work before with other clients that we're expecting? So that's just like a great one. And then I would say like, honestly, like the bullshit meter. Because so much of PR is like,
it's a lot of bullshit. Yeah.
A lot of bullshit.
Speaking of bullshit, so when you were talking, what other PR, can you remember any other PR agencies that you considered during your search, either for density or period, like at all? And then what drew you to them, or what like gave you pause? Was there anything on their website? Obviously for the web agency, they want to know, was there anything on their website that stood out?
Yeah, well, remember we went with that other agency at Density.
This was after us, right?
Yeah, and I can't remember the name of them for the life of me right now.
Oh, it was a disaster.
It was a total disaster. And you know what? And I was like totally strong-armed by a board member.
Yeah.
Like we need a bigger agency. We need to think bigger. We need to go bigger. And like the board member had no clue in reality of like what we needed to do. But I got totally strong-armed into it. And I knew from like but there was nothing I could really do. Like,
no, of course.
I was going to get annihilated if I didn't listen to this person who now runs like a big media company and had always run a big media company. So it was like, what are you going to do? And others, like even I work with other PR agencies right now with other clients. And I think like, yeah, like honestly, like I think it's like a lot of it is like that hustle of like talking about depending what the objective is. Like I work with a lot of consumer businesses where it's like, you know what, we just need like holiday season. I need to get in listicles. Like I don't really care about a large, beautiful narrative around like why we're saving the world. I need like listicles.
Yeah. I want to be at the top of somebody's buy list, right?
Yeah. And like, and so like, can you do that thing? Like, have you done that thing? Are you good at that thing? How do you approach that thing? So I think it's not just like general PR, but it's like, can you serve the need of what the type of PR I need right now?
Yes. Okay, great. So that's it for the search and the decision-making process. So the next category are questions around like switching to a PR agency. So let me ask you this before I even get into any of those. Have you ever been in a position where, besides the whole thing with density and the board member, where you were working at a company, you had a PR agency, and then you decided to switch? Has that scenario ever unfolded?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Totally. So think back to that. What made you start to think that you wanted to switch to a different PR agency? What specifically wasn't working with that previous partner? What changes did you want to see to become, more effective collaboration?
I think there's just like there is like a phrase that you hear from a lot of agencies, or just like in PR in general, that's like PR takes time. And I know it does. Just to be clear, that's a very real statement. That is like very true. That is a real thing. But I've worked with several agents. I mean, I just actually transitioned 2 different agencies out at 2 different clients within the last 6 months, just to be clear. And like there was just like nothing. We'd have like significant news. We'd like release it. And like, we just like couldn't land anything. Or they're like, and it comes back to the client of like, it takes time. You didn't give us enough runway. You did this, this, and this. But like, I'll say like our relationship, like we've been in positions where we've had no fucking time, where we've had very few resources, and you like figure it out. And I think that's true, not just of PR, that's just like in life.
Right.
So that's for me, like when things need to change.
When things feel like the it takes time thing is no longer a valid excuse, but it kind of a cover your ass, like to just get more time to hopefully get a result. But
Totally. Like zero
yeah.
quick wins, like zero
Mhm.
ability to put anything up. It's just like you're reaching for this like perfect, which honestly becomes the enemy of like great, not even good.
Mhm.
And so like, oh, I mean, I
Okay.
get it. Like you work in comms, you want to tell big, beautiful stories. I totally get it. I want big,
Yeah.
beautiful stories too, but like there's also a dance.
Yes. Okay, great. So let me go through this and make sure I'm not asking you things you've already answered. Um, okay, think back to a previous PR agency. Doesn't have to be us, could be literally anybody. What did you actually like about working with them? Were there any specific moments that left positive impressions?
Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is just being proactive. I often have felt like with shitty agencies, like they're only as good as you can like jockey them. Like if you're not engaged, then they're not engaged. And that's a really crappy relationship to feel like you're putting in a lot of effort only to get the effort you want to see out of it. And
Mhm.
so for me, the big thing there is that like somebody is like proactive. They're one step ahead of me. They're thinking about what's next without me having to poke and push and prod. Um, that to me is like like, "Hey, I saw this thing in the news. This person is working on this, like, new beat. Like, this would totally match well. Like, what do you think about going for it?" Versus me being like, "Did you see this?"
Right. Of course. It's like that is, I think, the number one complaint that I hear from people who come in is the proactive thing, right? Like they're just
Totally.
at some point it's like maybe it was good, but then it just starts to get stale, and like there's not a lot of continuous focus on just like how do we keep pushing the envelope as opposed to let's just maintain and just sort of get the normal stuff we normally get, and that I think gets old.
Yeah, I think small agencies don't make enough, and so they're not really incentivized to, like, be on it all the time, and I think really big agencies have these, like, big longer term goals, and so they're not as, like, reactive in the moment or thinking about, like, the current moment, and I find that, like, there's this, like, missing middle
Mhm.
of like getting paid enough so you feel like you're paid for your time to be like reading the news and digging in and like feeling like you're embedded in the team.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Okay, good. So this is pretty much it for the switching.
Well,
I would say, let me look at this next one. So I'm going to skip this one. I feel like you already answered a lot of these. Okay, so this one is around like the first moment you start to realize, okay, we need to get a new PR agency.
mhm.
That timeline, like when you start thinking maybe I should start looking around to start shopping around for that new agency, like how long is that period in your mind when you are considering to hire a new PR agency before actually moving forward and being like, okay, now I'm actually going to do the research. I'm actually going to reach out and start having conversations. Like, uh, what is that window?
Like how long are you thinking about breaking up before you actually break up?
Correct.
Less than 3 months. Like if
And
I'm
then,
really thinking about it, it's like looking at the contract and being like, what's my notification window?
right. And then what about if it's like you don't necessarily have a PR agency in place, but you were like, um, okay, we have such and such product launch. We know it's coming, or we have this funding thing. Like, how long do you think that window is before you're like, we should actually, no one's even on PR. We need to get a PR agency.
Like immediate.
Like almost like too late at that point, right? It's like a month or
Totally.
less. Yeah.
Right. Like
Mhm.
if you and also if you're at a company that has a big enough launch or a big enough announcement and you don't have at least somebody who's like a friendly, they might not even be on retainer, but you could like do project based or whatever. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
That yeah.
So you're pretty good at reading people, figuring out past the bullshit. So let's say you get into this, maybe you're about to sign and you're about to choose this agency. Like, what doubts are there any like doubts or concerns that you feel like kind of I could say generalized to maybe most agencies. Like, what are there any doubts or concerns that you have before actually choosing the agency, and that you think, "Ugh, I don't know if this is really going to work. They seem like they probably are the best fit, but I'm still thinking that maybe they're not proactive enough," or whatever the thing is.
Yeah. I mean, they're all at risk, right? Like
Mhm.
it's like kind of proof is in the pudding of when it like starts to roll. And so I think like the biggest risks for me are like honestly just like alignment on goals. It sounds so generic. I'm sorry. But like that is really like if we're just like, cool, this is what success looks like in 90 days. Like, and if you can do it and I can make sure that I'm not blocking anything that you need to do it, then like we
Yep.
feel good. And if someone starts to be like, well, we can't really like
Yeah.
guarantee that thing in 90 days. And listen, sometimes I've asked for things that are not reasonable. So like I respect
Sure.
that. But like uh
It's almost like the expectation setting is aligned, not
totally,
just the goals, right? That it's like,
totally.
if you're going to say, we're going to crush this thing, and then 2 weeks later, it's actually, I'm having some concern that we can do this. It's like, well, wait, you should have told me that before I hyped it up internally.
Or like the market has shifted or these things where I'm like,
Yeah, the market has shifted big time.
the
It's such
market
a,
shifts every day. Are you in our
yeah,
current like political climate? Like, come on.
right. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
So goals, expectations of being aligned at
yeah,
the outset. Yeah, yeah.
totally.
Okay.
And if you're misaligned, then you're fucked. But like if you're
Mhm.
aligned, then like
Do
then
you
you're
feel
giving
like
it a go.
do you feel like you or any of these companies that you're helping, are they looking around at competitors ever and being like, "Ooh, why are they doing this? And we should be doing PR." Is that like, do you see that as a constant
Totally,
thing? Okay.
totally. Or it's not even like we should be doing PR, but it's almost like they'll be like another competitor we mentioned in an article, and they're like, "Well, why aren't we in that?"
Yes.
That's more of the narrative, and it's often from the CEO who's like, "Well, I don't have time to take meetings."
Right.
That's like 2 desk sides, and you're like, "Well,
Right. Yeah. Just go get it done for me. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Um, okay. Let me go through this. This is so weird, me asking you these questions. It's like, okay, how well did the results of our work meet your expectations? What improvements did you notice, and what real outcomes did you achieve?
I mean, if I think back to like our fundraise, like our biggest fundraising moment, like we basically like were like we can do one of 2 things, and like let's like you know like take a big risk and see if we can like do this one thing well, and we ended up doing both exceptionally well. Like I feel like just like knocked it out of the park in terms of like
Hmm.
I think there's also like the climate was right, and there's a lot of
No, it's the COVID thing, the return to work, all that stuff. Yeah.
totally like we had a lot of like great tailwinds, but like yeah, I think we just like knocked it out of the park, and like we exceeded again expectation setting. We set expectations, we
Mhm.
definitely exceeded them, and I think this is also like that hustle element of like I've been in this with you twice now for a few different fundraisers, and like just
Oh my
like
God.
shit changes. Like I mean, this one cost us a few years of our life, but
Oh my
um,
God.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're just like, sure, I will call up your VC firm who has a PR person to get them on the phone. Like, actually, just had a big announcement with another client, and like, I mean, just the lack of initiative and like ability for our agency to like own the kind of narrative with like the contributing like investor PR, like it was just so sad.
Hmm.
I was so mad. Um, so is that helpful?
Okay. Yeah, this is super helpful. Okay, I
Okay.
think that's pretty much it. There's only maybe 2 or 3 questions left.
Okay.
Okay, if you could imagine the ideal collaboration with a PR agency, what would that look like for you? I mean, I think you've already kind of answered
Yeah,
some
it's
of
like
this stuff.
embedded, I think would be like if like the
Okay.
overarching thing.
Hmm.
But yeah, we talked about that.
When you're evaluating the effectiveness of PR work, what matters most? What helps you know that the partnership is actually delivering results?
Yeah. I mean, this is this is like always the question, I guess, with PR, because it's very amorphous. I think there's like clear leading indicators of like landed press mentions, impressions, yada yada. Fine, like the things that like end up happening. I guess you could even call those lagging, but more of like down funnel of like traffic, attributed, like whatever within the sales cycle. Like there's so much stuff there. And I think then there's like, and that stuff is all important, but honestly, like I think it's like general sentiment from like board and executive team of like, we're everywhere. Or that like when there is an article about a competitor, we are mentioned, right? Like that's the like barometer of success, basically.
Beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I got.
Yes.
Thank you so,
Oh my God, totally.
so much. This
Yeah.
is super helpful.
Yeah.
And
Do
I'm excited
anything.
to see I'm excited to see where it goes. When it launches, I want your feedback when I get close to it.
Cool. Can I ask you a
Get the
build up
marketing guy.
before I lose you?
Yeah, let me stop the recording then. Hold on.